One thing I've noticed as my yoga practice has changed over the years is that now I'm really looking to get a little bit more strength in the practice. Flexibility is, of course, really important, but first I want the strength. And so rather than moving really rapidly from pose to pose, to build strength, you want to stay in the pose. But also there are a lot of poses where we have a passive range of motion. In this practice, we'll be focusing on getting an active range of motion in shoulders and in hips. We'll be doing that in standing poses, but first we'll start seated. Sitting however you wish, take your arms in front of you and keep the elbows roughly at the same height as your shoulders. Bring your elbows together with the palms facing toward your face. See if you can separate your hands. Elbows want to drop, but see if you can keep them lifted. Take the hands together and take the hands apart. And take the hands together. One more. Take the hands apart and together. This prepares you for full Garudasana, but that's a very passive range of motion. So this is a great preparation at the beginning of your practice for Garudasana. Now, another one that we often use straps with to get a little bit more fullness in the pose is Gomukasana. Instead of grabbing the hands behind your back, make fists with your right hand, bend the elbow, make a fist with your left hand, bend the elbow. Now do that several times. Make a fist and go into the pose. Rather than grabbing hold of the hands, now with the left hand up, draw the fists toward each other on both sides. Let's come to standing and do these actions so that we can both open the hips and be in active range of motion with the arms. At the front of the mat, let's start working with active range of motion with the hip. Lift your right knee up, take the right knee back, lift your right knee up, take the foot back, lift it up, and take the right knee back. Now do that on the left side. Lift your knee up, take it back, lift it up, and take it back. And again, lift up and take it back. Release your foot down. Now we'll combine these actions with other yoga poses. Reach your right knee up, take it back, and balance yourself as you come to a crescent lunge. Once you're in the form of the pose, take your elbows forward, draw your elbows toward each other. Now take the hands wide apart and release. Do the same in that Gomukasana variation. Make fists, take your right hand up, draw your left hand back, bending both elbows, open your chest. Release your hands, step your back foot forward. Do the same with the left side. Lift your left knee up, reach back, draw your elbows forward at shoulder height, hug the elbows in toward each other, draw the hands further away from each other, release, make fists with your hands, with your left arm up, bend your left elbow, bend your right elbow, open your chest nicely. Release your hands and step your back foot forward. Now that you know the program, We'll do that 2 more times in a crescent lunge. Draw your right knee up, reach back, arms forward, elbows together, hands apart. Make fist, reach the right hand up, left hand back, bend your elbows, release and step your back foot forward. Draw your left knee up, reach back, elbows together, hands apart. Make fist, left arm up, right hand behind, and step your back foot forward. One more time. Bring your right knee up, reach back, elbows together, hands apart. Make fists, right hand up, left hand behind, open your chest. Step the back foot forward, take your left knee up, reach back, elbows together, hands apart. Make fists with your left arm up, reach back. Step the back foot forward and pause. So we've done hip flexion and extension to crescent lunge. Now let's do internal and external rotation of the hips. So take your right leg up and draw your right knee to the side so you're externally rotating. Now internally rotate and take your right foot to the side. And do the same thing. If balancing is a challenge for you, just work on this active range of motion by placing your hand on a wall or a chair. And again, internal rotation, external rotation. Great. Release the right foot down. Same thing with the left side. Lift up your left knee. Externally rotate. Now internally rotate. It's an odd sensation, but see if you can keep a nice stability as you draw the foot in on the external rotation, out on the internal rotation. Release. Now let's do that in downward facing dog, where as you externally rotate, you'll plant the ankle just above the left knee. Come to downward facing dog. Enjoy your breath in downward facing dog. Lift your heels nicely. So you can have a slight bend to the knees. Now draw your right knee in and externally rotate, internally rotate. Now we'll go back where we started, externally rotate and plant your ankle just to the outside of your left knee. Reach your right knee back. Just enjoy a nice elongation here on the left leg. As you begin to straighten the left leg, you keep on opening the hip on the right side. Release your right foot down. Draw your left knee in. Reach the left knee out as the foot comes in. Now do the opposite, internally rotate. Now, same thing that you started with. Externally rotate the leg as you bend your right knee and draw back. Draw the left inner thigh back. Start to straighten your right leg. Just enjoy. Nice ease to your breath. Release your left foot down. Walk your hands back to your feet. Take your hands to your hips. Rise up. We'll do the same action we were just doing by lifting the right knee toward your chest. A lot of hip flexion. First, you internally rotate. Now you externally rotate to plant the foot. Now reach your arms up. Just enjoy a nice fullness to the breath. And release your right foot with the left knee bent. A lot of hip flexion first. Internally rotate. Externally rotate and plant your ankle before reaching your arms up in this modified chair pose. Release your hands down to the mat. Come to downward facing dog. Delight in your breath. Use this as a pause in your practice. If you prefer to come to child's pose, go ahead and do that. Step your way to your hands to rise up. Take a wide stance, facing the long edge of the mat. Turn your right toes out. Now let's combine the movements that we've done and add another one. Bend your right knee. Take your elbows forward, bring the elbows together, hands apart. Tap the elbows down toward the knee. Inhale, rise up. Come to the opposite side. Left toes turn out, bend the knee, elbows forward, hands apart. Draw the elbows toward the knee. Inhale, rise up. Release your hands. We'll work on the fake Gomukasana, making fists, drawing the hands toward each other. Left toes turn in, right toes turn out. Bend your knee. Reach your right arm up, bend your right elbow, left elbow, draw down. Rise up. Opposite side, left arm is up, right hand is back, bend the knee and draw down. Rise up. Now the third movement that we'll incorporate is binding or false binding. So for this one, you bend the right knee. You draw your right fist down, wrap your right fist underneath your thigh, take your left hand behind, and almost like you're trying to have the fists kiss each other, just draw down. It's a false bind. Now inhale, rise up. Do the opposite, bend your left knee, draw your left fist down, take your right fist behind you, bend your left elbow, draw the fists toward each other, and rise up. One more opportunity in the standing poses where your legs are straight. Draw your right fist down, coming through triangle. Take your right fist underneath your right thigh, left fist back, and you're coming toward a straight right leg. And inhale, rise up. Opposite side, left fist down. Wrap it under. Bend the knee slightly to access it. Draw the fists toward each other. And rise up. Release your hands. And come to lie on your back. With your knees bent, lift your right knee toward your chest. Externally rotate the leg. Internally rotate and reach your right foot out. Now do the same again. Externally rotate. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. Internally rotate. And finally, externally rotate and park your foot to the outer left thigh. Keep reaching your right knee away from your chest. Keep your left leg active. Park your elbows. Lift your pelvis up. Come to a bridge pose. Before taking your pelvis down, and release your hands and your right foot. Draw the left knee in. Externally rotate with the left foot drawing toward the midline. Internally rotate with the knee drawing toward the midline. Externally rotate. Internally rotate. Externally rotate. Internal rotation. Externally rotate and park your ankle to the outer right knee. Bend your elbows so that you can get a nice lift of the upper chest. Lift your pelvis up. Hold the pose. Draw your left knee toward the earth as you keep on lifting high. Release your pelvis down. Release the left foot down. So often in Supta padangustasana, where the right leg is lifted, we put a belt around the right foot. This time, no belt. We'll just see if we can do this very active range of motion movement. So turn your right toes toward the right side and externally rotate the leg as it goes down toward the floor. At some point, you'll feel like the left hip is lifting. So keep the pelvis stable. Inhale, lift your right foot up. Extend your left leg out. Keep the right hip stable and just reach over just slightly. So you're not lifting the right hip off the mat. And internally rotate your foot so your toes are directed toward the left side. And lift your right foot up, bend your right knee, and place the right foot down. With both knees bent, the right foot planted, lift your left leg up. Externally rotate your foot. Draw over to the left side, keeping the right side of the pelvis very stable. Draw the foot in. Internally rotate the foot. Extend your right leg and draw to the right side. Keep your toes active. Release back to the center position and bend both knees. Plant your feet. Lift your pelvis up. Enjoy a nice fullness to your breath. And as you're ready, you can take the pelvis to the mat. Stretch your legs and your arms out to come to Savasana. In this practice, you engage the muscles of the hips and the shoulders in such a way as to create variations to the poses where you stay active in the full range of motion. Now allow those muscles to be passive so that the pelvis feels very heavy, allowing the legs to relax fully, and the shoulders are so grounded that the arms relax, the neck muscles release. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice where we focused on the active range of motion in our hips and shoulders. Namaste.